Hello, my name is GoCSNS and today I'll be making a YouTube video for Insurgency Sandstorm. This is my first video and I just want to talk about improvements that could be done to the game to make it better and just throwing my 2 cents into the improvements that could be done to the game. So starting off, the Galil should be a rifleman's gun. It shouldn't be in the gunner, shouldn't be a, it isn't an LMG. It isn't a squad automatic rifle either. Yeah, it has a drum mag and it can hold a lot of rounds, but the AR-15s also have a drum mag and they can hold a lot of rounds too. But the AR-15s aren't a LMG, or what you classify as a squad automatic rifle. So I never understood why the Galil is in the gunner role, and I think it should be in rifleman. Secondly is the M4, the CQBR and Advisor used to have a transparent cutout for its ammo counter. Now, this was before we had the G36K into the game that had the transparent mag. And now that we have both the M10 and the G36K having some sort of cutout that you can see the ammo, I think we should reintroduce that to the CQBR so we could see our counters in that gun. At least get a more specific amount of ammo in your gun so you can plan your engagements wisely. Another thing is the QTS that was added in the last update shouldn't be in Rifleman. It should be a demo only gun. There's too many guns in Rifleman. And I mean, I'm probably going to contradict myself later down in the video because I'm going to add some other guns into the Rifleman. This first part of the video is like general reworks into the game, switching weapons around from Rifleman to demo to other stuff, the stuff like that. And the QTS was developed by the Chinese government to be a gun that could both do normal gun activities and be a weapon that could shoot out explosive or smokes or whatever. And it really never took off. It was too expensive and we're shooting a weird caliber, so that's why we don't see it in real life. It's mostly replaced by other guns like the QBS 97 that we also have in the game now, and other Chinese guns like the LMGs, I forget what they're called, but stuff like, we don't see that gun because it kind of fell out of options in, like there's better options for Chinese military to use other than this gun. So it shouldn't really be a rifleman's gun because to me rifleman's like represents the most common weapons of a group's arsenal. So to me it should be going to demo because it's a demolitions focused weapon, and that's kind of like what I most see it for, basically. Other than that, when it comes to
I'm reloading.
secondly, I think the L85 and Advisor should go to Rifleman. I know it is said that there's too many guns in Rifleman, but the L85 is the standard issue British rifle. There is a lot in circulation, right? So it's not like it's an exotic gun or there's rarity in that gun. It's a very common gun to find in around the world. So I never really understood why that's an Advisor. I mean, yes, in the game it's a US security company that would probably not use a L85, but some person would use it. But it's a standard issue gun that the generic rifleman of a country gets. We don't have the G36K in Advisor, even though the G36K is a more exotic looking gun. It's a rifleman's gun, So I just think that the L85 should be a rifleman gun because it's extremely common in and around the world. So That's another gun that could be into riflemen, so we can see a lot more because no, it has a very low pick rate in the other advisor guns. The other advisor guns are way better than the LA5 in every shape or form because the only thing the LA5 has other guns beat is because of the it's a bump up. It has a longer barrel and it can shoot farther away, but at the same time, the Scar H can do that and have a bigger round and hit targets with more power and target. Also, another advisor gun could be the SKS. The SKS is one of the most produced guns in the world. I think it's fourth or fifth in the world in numbers in the world. It doesn't need it. It has no right to be an advisor, literally. It started off in the 1950s, I think, and to this day, it's still used around the world in many forms and ways, and for hunting, for militias, stuff like that, by old grandmas in the States. It's used a lot by everyone. It's one of those Soviet guns that has ceases to not exist because they produce too much of them. I think that a tweak to the SKS is that it could go to rifleman, but it loses its 20 round mag and has the stripper clip that it came with in its earlier forms. And for the advisor version of the SKS, it gets a poly like a plastic case around it. Like you switch out the wood stock and you put in like a plastic stock, so it's lighter and you can move faster with it. So it could be like a light strike gun where you can move around and probably have it suppressed so you can not be seen by enemy forces. Not lastly, but another big one is commanders and observers. To me, when I ask someone, can I get an observer? Everyone says no because there's no real reason to do it. Because at the end of the day, commander and observer is just a rifleman with a scope or radio. I think that a way to make people want to be in a commander, want to be in an observer role, is if you're a commander or observer, you have access to all weapons, no matter if you're security or insurgents. So, a security advisor can have an AK, and a insurgent advisor can have an M4. So it would make people want to pick that role, so you can get access to every gun in the game. You know. So that goes for if you want to be an LMG, but you also want to be an advisor. That could work because you have to make people want to pick that role. Now, would it just mean that people just pick the role so they get access to every gun? Probably. By the end of the day, it would produce more chances of someone wanting to call something in so they could change the tide of the battle. You know, it's not just two guys that are already like friends or stuff like that calling in shit and already just talking in a Discord call. It's like actual team gameplay, not just you just get lucky and you get good commanders or good observers. It would make people want to be a commander or be an observer. When it comes to new guns, I think the only really new guns that I would like to see is probably a bolt action mag fed sniper rifle for the marksman role and new LMGs because the LMG class has been left high and dry for almost 2 years now. It is really weird that we have not gotten a single LMG gun. The most we've gotten is the speed reload for the LMGs, which that's literally the only thing of notoriety that we've seen in the LMG class. You know, so it's just kind of sad that we just left the LMG class to its own devices, and that's kind of where it is right now. Another thing I'd like to see is a rework to the trucks. The trucks have been kind of just this cannon fodder where you just tell everyone not to get in the truck because it's just going to get launched into RPG anyways, and you only really use it if you're on 0 waves. So I think that you could add 3 new trucks into the game. One truck is a heavily armored truck that could take 2 RPGs to take down. So it would you would use that as like the first push to get into the point, and maybe it gets blown up. And also, this truck wouldn't have a gun on it. It'll actually just be a heavily armored truck that you can go in, and hopefully those like 4 people that got in that truck can help capture that point. The other truck would be a mortar truck, a truck that has a mortar on the back instead of a gun. You could like call it, you could not call in, but like, you could have 2 people, the driver and the mortar person, fire either chem rounds, explosive, or smoke, depending if you're in search or security, to help the commander and observer not use all their points on smoke or chems or explosives, so you can hold in stuff like that. Lastly, I'd like to see 2 new factions. A Russian faction, so we could get more Russian languages into the game, because I mean, insurgents have a kind of Russian part to it, but not really used that much. And a UK-based faction, so you could get more. That's more voice acting into the game. Voice acting has been very left high and dry, so I think there should just be more of that. And I guess that concludes the video. I guess. So yeah, subscribe to my channel and I don't know, share it around, something like that.